So I'm going to try to make this video, which is kind of a surprise to me because, first of all, I don't know if you've noticed, but it's been a long time since I made a video that wasn't requested by somebody or suggested by somebody. And I've had my confidence knocked pretty good recently. But I'm going to give this a shot. The reason is because I feel very strongly that whether you have a diagnosis or not, which of course I think everybody should go get an actual diagnosis so they're not making mistakes that could screw up their life for, even if it's a short while, it's just don't do it. Find out the truth. But regardless, getting a diagnosis is definitely not an excuse to wallow or to stay where you are or to burrow deeper into, your little cave or whatever you want to call it. That's not the point of getting a diagnosis. The point of getting a diagnosis is, first of all, to really know that basically you're not crazy. And because every single one of the people that I know who have either gotten a diagnosis, or even the people that they think they have it and they turn out they don't have the diagnosis, because again, there is that component of abuse from other people. Across the board, they're told there's something wrong with them, and that's and they have these labels that are just unkind attached to them. Mine was that I was a snob. Anyway, so rather than believe that, then you can know the truth. That's really the thing about the diagnosis, that people that get it out of the blue and have no idea that it ever existed, or what is this thing, and then they realize, first they're shocked and horrified, and then they go, oh yeah, you know what, it's not just me, I'm not just this uniquely damaged person. So that's great. But the other thing that it's good for is it's sort of like a start of a journey. Now you know what to educate yourself about, and where you need to learn. Which, okay, I'm trying not to sort of like flatter myself, but I get that I'm sort of talking to the choir, that that's why people watch these. I mean, the alternative is because you think that I'm individually somebody worth watching. That's impossible. So I get that you're trying to educate yourself, but again, it's like that's the starting off point. You don't wallow, you don't stay there. You have to go forward and learn a way to live your life, despite having the anxiety and a lack of self-esteem. You got to figure a way of going forward. And so there's a lot of people that want a diagnosis so that they can say, oh, well, there's my excuse for not doing anything, and I'm just going to, not do therapy because, there's no good for me to do this. Okay, I'm getting off track. I mean, but really seriously, this is the point. This is the real point of what I'm going to talk about. Is because I read this article, and I'm going to link it. I think it's the first time I ever linked something, because it sort of spoke to me. And the thing is, it doesn't work for me specifically, even though I can't wait to see people who say, oh yeah, that fits you to a T. Okay, well, there, I just said it, so you don't have to. Anyway, the thing is that even if something doesn't work for me, then that doesn't mean it won't work for anybody else. And so I feel very strongly that I have to describe things that didn't work for me, didn't work for me the first time, didn't work for me the next time. Maybe they worked after 50 tries. They worked a little bit for me. I know this is working. Maybe they never worked at all. But everybody's an individual, and so this might work for you to see this. Being around the bush. Okay, I read this little article. It was like a self-help get advice column. Okay, I sound like an idiot. Alright, I'm sure you've all read these. It's like, you know, Dear Abby, but it wasn't Dear Abby. Anyway, it's this guy who wrote in who said, I was, a fat nerd as a teenager, and now I'm not anymore, and I can't get that image out of my head that I'm a fat nerd. And so I have no confidence around people, and I'm totally alone because of it. And the article basically said, in a nutshell, that humans are flawed, all of them. And you have to be flawed to be human. And that the flaws are what make you lovable. And I was like, oh my God, that's so nice. And so true. And, avoidant people, they can't get rid of the flaws. They can't get it out of their head, and they explode them. And I've talked about it before, that there's like sort of like a standard pedestal that avoidant people put themselves on, that they were forced to get up on by their family or whoever it was that was abusive to them. And so now they think that they're supposed to act a certain way forever, no matter what. And if they don't reach that standard, and they can't reach that standard, then forget about it. They're unworthy. And actually, it was somebody else that was describing a relationship they were with, that the person perpetually, constantly, every time moved the goalposts. Constantly. It didn't matter what was done, what was completed, if it was perfect, if it, how much effort went in. It did not matter, because immediately, as soon as something popped up, then, oh, okay, well, you finished that, good, now you got to do this. You do this, then you'll earn my love. And it was almost literally stated like that, and I'm just like, oh my God. Mostly because I can relate so much to that. Actually, this week, my mother, you've heard about my mother's been having some health issues. Self-inflicted, it turns out. She's refusing to follow doctor's orders and keeps getting herself landed in the hospital. Gotta do what doctor says. Can't sit there and go, why am I here? Anyway, so this past week, because I have a life, and I actually did 2 major things, like very long-term things, months, that I have been having on the list that I needed to do, and I don't know what happened. Again, this is the pendulum. I was getting the stuff done that I never get done, and now I can't believe I'm even making this video, and whatever. I'm either going to have to pretend it's not up, or I'll just take it right back down again. But anyway, which you notice I do that often. Not often, but often enough. Anyway, as soon as I'm like, okay, this thing, you knew I needed to do it, and I got it done immediately. I mean, I didn't even finish getting a sentence out, and my mother's like, okay, well, you need to do this and this and this, and I just called her out on it. I mean, because she did twice in one day, and I just called her straight out on it, and I said, listen, I completed a project that I need to do, and I don't need to hear about your opinion about what else I need to do next. Knock it off. And shut her right up. And she won't remember it, but she did say, oh, I didn't mean to do that. A lot of people are not like that, though. A lot of people, I mean, and the thing is that this other person, I know exactly what it is. It's the way they sort of keep a sense of security. It's like, okay, if I've got you under my thumb and you're never going to get enough stuff done to quote unquote earn my love and to get my praise or whatever, then you're going to stick around because, you know, you're first of all going to feel like crap, like you're not worthy of anybody else. Hello. And also, you know, that you got another job to do, so you got to get that job done. So I'm going to keep giving you stuff and piling it up and piling it up. And this is what my mother does, because she's an elderly person with poor health, and she's incapable of taking care of herself at this point. She needs people. She wants to pretend she doesn't. And she wants to lean on me and make it my job. And guess what? It's not. And then she turns around, and if I won't do it, she tries to get my son to do it, who's a teenager with autism. I don't think so. I shut that one down like so fast you wouldn't believe. But other people, I mean, it's sort of like you seek that out. You seek that out. It's people that verify, you know, and validate this idea that you have a higher standard and more stuff that you need to do. And, you know, I mean, some people, especially guys, think having, you know, it's great to have someone to motivate them. Well, there's a difference between setting a standard that you expect your partner to meet. This is things like they're not going to cheat on you. And giving them life goals for you to do together, like, you know, we're going to keep the house clean or something like that. And then purposefully, every time, never giving anybody any credit, never saying good for you, and going from there, from the next thing, the next thing, the next thing. And, you know, people that are avoidant, that they attract that. I have been told, it's very annoying, but I have been told by my therapist point blank that I will only accept the people who abuse me into my life. And so that's harsh. And I think that's kind of mean to people who do interact with me, because it's like painting everybody with a really broad brush. That's what I've been told. I only trust people if they're abusive to me. You know, this article, if you read it, this is a person who can't trust people because they don't hate him and he thinks he should be hated. See, this is why I can see how it should apply to my life. I can't apply it yet. Maybe. So I keep looking at this article, thinking about it. I'm trying to get a little chink in the way that I think so that I can make progress and not stay so stuck. And this is a goal that everybody with avoidant personality should do, is to try to find something that you can move just a little bit of wiggle room so that someday it'll get slightly